Spider-Man Back in Black. This goes down as one of my best Spider-Man comics ever, and you should expect the iconic black suit and Peter not holding back, of course, because the comic starts off with Aunt May getting shot. Yes, you heard me. She got quick scoped by a sniper, and Peter, who is shocked, reacting almost immediately, gets her out of the way of the next shot. And he immediately rushes out of the house, boiling in rage as he repeats the line, "No more." He lifts and throws a fucking jeep in the direction of the sniper. Wait, what's that you said? You need time to let all that sink in. Nah, bruh, no time for that, because as MJ was dialing 911, Peter says, "There's no time. She'll be dead before they get here." And so he grabs Aunt May, in a hurry of course, and swings through the glass while still screaming, "No time." I can't even imagine the stress he's going through right now. Peter, with a worry on his face, is trying to comfort her and says she should just hang on because they'll soon be at a hospital. Aunt May, be the sweet woman that she is very concerned about Peter not wearing a mask. And she says, "You shouldn't. People will see you. I'm sorry I made a mess of." She didn't complete her sentence before passing out. Keep this in mind as we go forward because this is very important. Peter screams her name as he breaks into an empty room in the hospital. A nurse who heard the noise goes there and in shock quickly requests for a trauma team. All the medical personnel rush there and one of the doctors sees her and immediately tells them to bring a plasma kit fast as she has lost a lot of blood. Peter, who is hanging outside the building, clenches his fist in pain as he overhears them. I'm sure that's a lot to take in, but trust me, the worst is yet to come. We switch to the next scene and Fisk is reading a book in his prison cell as an officer walks in front of the cell saying he has a message for him, even though he doesn't understand what it means. Now this part is going to be filled with a lot of dialogue, so bear with me here. And it's also intended to give some hints. Well, not some hints, it's actually explicitly obvious who the killer is once you get through the scene. So anyways, let's just get right into it. So Fisk replies him, telling him it's better he doesn't know what the message means. And the officer is like, oh well. And then he proceeds to tell him the message. First gift basket, not delivered. But the other one of the two baskets was delivered. Fisk, with a big grin, hesitates, then says, "At least the evening wasn't a complete waste." He continues to talk about Euripides Charlie. I hope I pronounced that name right. If I didn't, please don't cook me in the comment section. And then he asks the officer if he knows him. The officer asks him what cell, thinking Charlie is an inmate, which amuses Fisk, of course. And he uses that opportunity to roast the poor guy, telling him he missed his calling by being an officer. Instead, he should have been on the stage. And the officer hilariously says his wife tells him the exact same thing. Fisk then goes on talking about Charlie, who was a Greek playwright from prehistoric times, who loved writing about tragedies, giving him and Fisk something in common. Or at least that's what Fisk says. He then talks about his favorite line from the band, which goes something like, "Whom the gods would destroy, they first drive mad." Now this implies two things here, at least from my own understanding. First, which he mentioned in this comic, is prolonging the suffering of someone, who in this case is our dear old Peter, to increase his own pleasure. And by his, I am referring to Fisk. And you might ask, what suffering is he prolonging? Well, he just shot one of the most important people in Peter's life, or rather he just got someone to shoot her. Right? I mean, it's kind of implied here that he's the one who did it. I mean, why would they show us this scene immediately after she got shot, The second thing it implies is his superiority complex, or perhaps even a god complex. It's not explicitly stated, but any comic reader that has some knowledge on Fisk will understand what I'm saying perfectly, because Fisk is a big time control freak. If you read most of the Daredevil comics where you see Fisk in, he is trying to run the city, he is trying to expand, his reach on the city, he is trying to control everything. And I think just recently, was it last year or last 2 years, where he became, I think, the mayor of New York. I can't remember what he became, and started to take down the heroes. I really can't remember how the comic itself went because it's been a while since I read it. I can't even remember the comic name, but it was linked to the last Daredevil comic. Yeah, anyways, I digress. The entire conversation that they just had made Charlie a bit confused because he doesn't even understand the context. What do you mean by "to who the gods want to destroy"? What do you mean? He has no idea what's going on here, right? So he was confused. Anyways, they bid farewell, and what's this? Fisk knows his wife. The next panel, we see MJ in the city is looking awfully worried. Of course, she has to be awfully worried. And don't worry, MJ, the worst is it's really yet to come. Even for you guys watching, you guys should really stick around because it really goes up from here. We then see Peter coming out of an alley and calls for her. He explains in a very sober tone that Aunt May has been stabilized, but she is still in bad shape. And to make it worse, the killer might come back to finish the job. So Peter instructs May to register Aunt May under her maiden name, May Riley. And this actually serves two things. This is because, as you will soon see, his identity is no longer a mystery. And having Parker in her name will bring a truckload of issues, and it would also make the job easier for the killers. Peter also explains he has emptied his account so they can take care of her for a while. And this is where things really start to pick up. After telling MJ everything she needs to know, she asks him where he is going, and he replies saying, to do what I do best when I really put my mind to it. I'm going to hurt someone. The next page, we're back to the scene of the crime. The place is crawling with police vehicles, and remember, the car Peter threw at the very start of the comic. Yeah, we see it on the opposite building stuck to the wall, which I find kind of funny. Imagine jogging in the morning and you look up only to see a car sticking out of a building. Anyway, we then see Peter walking up the stairs in the house, or rather the building where he threw the car to, and he's being halted by an officer who is telling him he can't come in here. And Peter, like a badass, just ignores him and webs his blue badge ass to the wall. He then makes it upstairs and scans the scene of the crime. Look at his eyes, bro. These are the eyes of a man who is looking for revenge. And his spider senses come in clutch, helping him to discover something in the rubble, which seemed to be a scoop of some sort. He walks out and takes one last look at the officer he plastered to the wall before leaving angrily. You know, this is also showing the shift in his personality, which should have been obvious by now in case you haven't seen it. Something is really changing in him, or something has changed, something has snapped, because regular old Peter wouldn't have done this. Then we get this really awesome monologue from Peter. I can't do anything for me right now. I can't even show my face there because it's plastered all over the newspapers across town. I can't even stand by her bed. I can't hold her hand. I can't tell her I love her. I have to leave it to MJ and doctors who I know are doing everything they can do. But this is all I can do, all I know how to do. And by this, he's talking about going to whoop someone's ass. And look at that Batman ass pose. Look at that pose, man. He hit that emote properly, bro. We then switch to the next page where we presumably see the gun runners, who Peter would describe very short. They are going at their business as usual in what seems to be a warehouse, inspecting a new batch of firearms and discussing, not knowing the Peter hammer is about to fall on them. So the monologue continues. In New York, everyone knows where the big guys hang out. The untouchables with connections so high up the food chain the police are even scared of messing with them. Top of the shelf gun dealers who will sell to congressmen and celebrities. Gun runners. I don't knock, Peter says to himself as he crashes in. The men turn back in shock. Man, look at these bum ass niggas, bro. They scared for their lives.
Oh, please, Big Daddy Peter, don't bring the pain down on us.
I'm not in the mood, Peter says before launching in on them. The monologues continue as we watch Peter beat him up. This is what I like to call a one-man jumping. Tonight I don't care what the deal is, or who these guys are, or what they are by, he says as he stomps this nigga right in his face in midair. Tonight they're just between me and him, but he's not going anywhere. Not tonight. Not this night. And tonight, on this night, the rules are gone, he says as he sends 5 guys flying. No jokes. No punches pulled. As of tonight, no one gets away. No one threatens my family. No one. At this point, Peter had already destroyed all these niggas and leaving the one guy who happens to be the head warmer guy we saw before. He stares at him from across the room while holding the last guy he beat up.
Oh, look, I don't know what you want, but I don't want any trouble,
he says as Peter is walking towards him while he was still blabbing. Bro probably peed himself. Shut the fuck up, nigga, Peter says as he grabs him. Tell me about this, he says as he puts the scope he picked up from the crime scene in his face. Head warmer guy says he doesn't know what Peter's talking about. And the head warmer guy is, trying to play dumb, saying, I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. And as he was about to say he has never seen it in his life, Peter squeezes this man's hand so hard it makes a crunching sound like some KFC chicken. I break his hand. It snaps like dry wood, Peter thinks. At another time, I would have taken comfort in the thought that this hand will no longer be able to sell guns or be able to pull a trigger. And maybe I will later, but not tonight. Nigga, I didn't ask if you'd seen it before. I asked you to tell me what you know about it. With sweat on his face, fear in his eyes, and a mouth wide open, he sings like a bird, giving a full description of the scope. He mentions how hard it is to obtain this particular scope and how expensive it is. And then he also mentions that only a few dealers around town carry it. Who? Peter asks.
No, I can tell you. If I tell you, they'll kill me.
With an intense glaze, Peter says one of the coldest lines in Spider-Man comic, in fact in Spider-Man history ever, in any form of media, whether it be the comics, the movies. This was one of the coldest lines I've ever heard from Peter. What they would do to you in a day or two if they ever figured out is only a fraction of what I would do to you right now if the next word out of your mouth isn't a first name followed by a last name and an address. Repeat as necessary. When I was reading this for the first time a few years back, I could feel my hair standing up. Anyways, if you've come this far and you're enjoying the video, please give a like and sub to the channel. Help us hit that 500 subscriber mark. It would mean a great deal to me personally. Let's try and hit 500 subs before December runs out. I think it's like 4 subs left before we hit it, so yeah. Anyways, on the next page we switch to MJ in the hospital, where she is trying to figure out what room Aunt May is in by talking with the nurse or the registrar. I don't know, I think it's the nurse, because if you all remember, Aunt May wasn't actually admitted into the hospital officially, so that's posing a problem. They do not know where exactly the woman who MJ is talking about is. And even the nurse here says something about a lot of women above 70 being administered as gunshot victims on a very frequent basis. At least that was what was implied here. And while MJ and the nurse are still talking, the doctor who treated Aunt May walks in on them and introduces himself. May also introduces herself as Aunt May's niece, and she asks where Aunt May currently is. Intensive care, the doctor says, as they both walk towards where she is. MJ, obviously concerned and worried, asks if she's going to be okay since she's alive. The doctor, cutting her short, says, "I'm afraid it's not that simple. She's lapsed into a coma and we're keeping her alive through the machines as her body hasn't picked up the slack." Basically, her body isn't, functioning as it should. It should have started functioning properly right now, but it's not doing that. So basically, the only thing keeping Aunt May alive right now, as implied here, is the machines they've strapped on her. The doctor continues to say, now it's possible that against all odds she'll make it out of the coma and start functioning again, but bearing that, sooner or later, I'm afraid she's going to die. MJ's eyes are wide open in fear and disbelief as we reach the end of the panel with a thought bubble saying, she'll make it, she'll pull through, somehow it's what she does. And we see it's raining heavily as Peter is swinging toward the top of a building. Now I have to do my part, Peter thinks. I put this here a long time ago. I got rid of it because I thought it sent the wrong message. Maybe I kept it because there might come a day when I would want to send that message. Basically, what he's talking about here is his black suit. And keep in mind, this is not a symbiote suit. This is not Venom. This is just a black suit. Anyways, he continues to say, the rules don't apply anymore. The gloves are off. I won't stop. And I can't be stopped until I find the people responsible for shooting me. And I will find them. And when I do, I'm going to kill them. And folks, that's where this issue ends. Once again, this is a very, very amazing comic. I'm going to be covering it over the course of the next 2, 3, 4 weeks because it has a lot of issues. I think maybe from the next one, I'll try and be, combining more issues into one. It's going to be longer videos probably, but yeah. One thing about this comic is there's a point where it gets filled with a whole lot of dialogue because there was a lot of character development, and I don't know, maybe a lot of you might find that boring. It's been long since I actually posted a comic video here. I was supposed to post a Multi-Man video. The script is ready, right? I've already written on it, but I don't know, I don't have much to say about it. I don't know why that video is not out yet. But if you've made it this far into the video, you're still hearing me rant, thank you very much. I really do appreciate every single one of you that tune in to watch every week, even the new people that come to watch. I Really do appreciate it. And if you like the content here, please endeavor to leave a like, subscribe, comment your thoughts and opinion on this video. Comment whatever video you'd like us to make on whatever form of media, because this is Fictionverse. We're supposed to be covering comics, manga, books, the whole 9 yards. Okay, it's just mostly time that's killing me at school. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Yeah, help us build this, this community, because it really does mean everything to me and you.